once we're ready for that party, it's like, all right, she's going back to her room. She's changing out of her wedding dress and into her dancing dress. They're taking off her heels and putting on some Nikes that light up. He's taking his bow tie off. The guys are over getting ready, taking a shot, getting ready to come out to the dance floor. And we're going to tear this thing up. And we're going to have the lighting up in the front by the dance floor completely change.
We're discovering all things wedding, from Will You Marry Me to You May Kiss the Bride. I'm your host, Andrea. Welcome to the Bridal Club.
Today, I want to talk to you about lighting at a wedding. It's something so crucial that we typically don't think about while planning, or at least at the very beginning. Lighting plays a huge role in a wedding. I mean, it really does create the atmosphere. It actually helps with your aesthetic. I actually didn't think about this until a friend of mine told me that her brother-in-law does commercial lighting for a living. And it really was shocking just to know kind of like the behind the scenes and the science behind, having the perfect lighting at a commercial space, whether it is at a nightclub or a bar or a restaurant. They were basically saying that if a restaurant has a lot of natural lighting, meaning a lot of windows, as the sun goes down, the lighting inside the restaurant needs to go up, but then it goes down a lot too, to create the perfect atmosphere without being so bright and in your face. How many times have you been to a date night with your significant other when the lighting is just so bright that it kills the vibe? Like, have you ever had that happen? Yes. If you have a venue, they may be taking care of it, but they may not. So it's something that you should obviously ask your venue. Now, in my case, we actually had a tented wedding, but the tent was actually clear. So the roof was clear. So of course the sun, the natural light was coming through. But again, going back to that example of the restaurant, the lighting needed to be set perfectly throughout the day. And if you think about it also, it really does depend on what time of the year it is. So our wedding was in November. So obviously the sunset was about 5. And there's obviously a very drastic light change between 4:30 and 6, So we wanted to make a very unique experience for everyone. And the fact that we had a ton of vendors commenting on the lighting of the wedding after the event was really crazy to me. So today I have the pleasure of introducing you Austin Smith, who was behind the lighting at our tented wedding. He's going to talk to you about why lighting is so important, more about the science behind it, what you should consider, and then obviously all the different services that he provides. So I can't wait for us both to learn more about Austin Smith and his company and everything he does. So help me welcome Austin to Bridal Club.
Austin, I'm super excited you're here and that actually I got to meet you now. We didn't meet before the wedding. Actually, I didn't even know that you were providing the service of lighting at our wedding until after the fact. And I'm just so excited to talk to you and for our audience to learn more about your services.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me on. I know it's not too often that I don't meet the clients that I'm working with, but going through a planner and me being busy that weekend and already booked up and being able to trust my guys to go out and really take over and do a great job. And obviously you were pleased. So very happy that I can trust my guys to go out there with the gear and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not only we were pleased, we were actually very shockingly and surprised that a lot of people commented on the lighting of the wedding. And I think I mentioned this to you because typically I don't know if that's normal or not, because we didn't have a dance floor. So it's not like we had like special lightings and something that people commonly would talk about, but they just talk about how beautiful everything was and how the lighting was perfect throughout the entire day. So for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us more about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Austin with Austin Smith Events. I started my company back in 2010, doing DJing, actually, kind of just around college and that sort of thing, and have built up everything since then. And now kind of focus more on the specialty lighting, special effects, and still do DJing. Don't get me wrong. I can still throw down a killer set DJing, but really focusing on that lighting aspect because it is such a big deal and it's getting more attention paid to it here in the last few years. And there's been some more upgrades in lighting and products that we can buy in order to make it easier for us and not have to have any cables or anything like that. But yeah, started back 13 years ago and has transformed over the past 13 years to what it is today. And very happy, proud, and super proud of all my guys that I can trust to go and do events just like yours.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's really talk about weddings specifically, because obviously this is what the show is about. But of course, I know you do like different events as well. But tell me how you create an atmosphere and like the mood and really the aesthetic of a wedding with lighting.
I want to talk to the clients as much as I can, talk with the venue, talk with the coordinators, even going down to the layout and getting where catering is going to be and taking care of their stuff. But it's all about listening. And that's one thing I feel like I'm pretty good at, is sitting down and letting someone else talk for a long time. Sometimes I won't even talk. I'll just wait until they start talking again until I get kind of more and more out of it. But then also being able to, with my 13 years of experience, be able to ask the right questions. All right, well, what matters more, this or this? What do we need to do here? What would you rather have here? And be able to present different options and have a variety of lighting to offer them. But yeah, really just listening and over listening some more, and working around with everybody so that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, it makes sense. So earlier on the introduction, I was telling the audience basically that lighting is just so important anywhere, right? But like even when you go to a restaurant, how the lighting dims as the sun goes down, and it has to be the right mood, and it also has to be like the right atmosphere, and then it can't just be like an on and off kind of switch, and also it really depends on the time of the year as well. So if you had my wedding, a tented wedding outside in November 11, if you were to put that same wedding in May, it's like it's different, like the science behind it is so interesting to me, because it would have not been the exact same due to the sunset, correct?
Yep. Yeah. And that happens all the time. And that's what a lot of people, because now there's not really a typical, I mean, there still is a wedding season, but everybody is having weddings whenever they want to now. And so that's one thing that a lot of planners or just regular people that, hey, I'm planning a wedding, but they don't think about, all right, exactly what time the sun is going to set. Is the ceremony going to be outside, inside? And just like you all did, having it out on your property in a tent, we need some lighting out there. I'm actually going through one with the Ritz-Carlton right now where they're having their 50th birthday party in the back, and we're looking at sunset times because it was originally going to be on one day, and now that it's a week later, well, that's past daylight savings, so now it's going to be it's going to stay lighter more, and so now we're like, all right, well, let's push the party back then an hour, because we really want the lighting. It's like a Miami Vice theme taking over. But yeah, it is so important with the sun setting, exact times, and trees even around. Are the trees going to cast a shadow over event space? And that's what will happen here. So that's why we do need the lighting earlier. But just little tiny details like that is what really sets apart like someone that's been in the industry for a while versus someone that's new. And I mean, we all have learning experiences, but Absolutely. If we can avoid those, that'd be great.
And again, it's something that we typically don't think about when planning a wedding. We typically, think about, sorry to say this, but like as a bride, I'm like thinking about the flowers, the rentals and the cakes, and not the lighting. But again, like the fact that you like what you do can create a whole experience and an atmosphere throughout the entire day. I mean, is really, really amazing. So that's really amazing. So we obviously talked about the time of the year and the sunset and everything, but also I feel like the way the lighting was set at my wedding, it was really like spot on Justin and me, with my husband and me, and then the florals and then the bar. So all of those logistics is something that, of course, your company does as well, which again, most people might not be thinking about.
Yeah, and it takes a lot. Every wedding is a little bit different, and I think that's why I love it so much. Is it's always a challenge.
Yeah.
Yours especially, which don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved the all black, but light does not show up on black very well. So we couldn't have done like just bring in the traditional uplighting real quick and bam, we got something going there because
Yeah.
we would uplighting all black bars and uh, black chairs and everything all around.
Yeah, and I would have never thought that it would have been different than having a wedding that had a lot of colors. Never. So this is really awesome.
But yeah, that's what I love in being able to create that mood because you all obviously had your mood. And that's the last thing I want to do is come in and one, bring in like trust because I think that's kind of outdated a little bit now. It's intrusive unless you skirt it the right way and have it at the right height. Like it can really feel like it's a little bit taking over. And you all did have an intimate, like smaller crowd. So that definitely would have been kind of, I feel like a sore eye, like in the background of all the pictures and everything. And so the thing I wanted to do there was one, I don't think y'all had a big generator either. So that played a big part.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't even know
that.
Okay. Yeah, that's just one of those other little details is all my lighting now is battery powered. And even at battery powered, I can last up to 24 hours, like a single color or whatever. So we were able to actually install everything the night before, put it on sleep mode, and then come the next day and basically turn everything on and adjust it a little bit, depending on like if a table moved a few inches or whatever.
Oh my God, this is just like a different world that we just don't know about.
There's a little bit that goes into it, but that's why you buy the better equipment. Another big part of your wedding too was the tent style. You wanted that kind of open ceiling out in the night sky. Well, I didn't want to be intrusive up there either. I wanted people to be able to look up and still see the sky. I didn't want to have like pink and purple and green and colors all over. So we stuck with that kind of moody, warm glow feel. And then spotlighted just the floral parts and the head table and the bars, the massive floral over the piano, which was amazing.
Yeah, again, it's just like there's a ton of science behind it. It's just impressive.
Yep. And all battery powered and all just magnetized up there and didn't have a bunch of zip ties and cords running down. And that's kind of like one of those things whenever I get my pictures back, I don't want to see the lighting. I want to see the lighting, but I don't want to see any of the fixtures.
Sure.
And that's becoming kind of a thing that's a little bit more known in the luxury side of weddings is being able to have those lights that aren't there.
Right. Yeah.
Aren't seen at all. Making sure that they're very small, low profile. Being able to put them up, like I said, the night before and then build floral or whatever around them. So it looks like it's already just a part of the venue and we're kind of building around it.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so you obviously do the lighting. What kind of other services do you offer?
Yeah, so I actually started out DJing. Like I said, I can still throw down a good set.
And you still do?
Yeah. From time to time, I'll still get behind the decks and throw it down. I also offer a bunch of special effects, confetti, lasers, and a number of other things like the low-lying fog and the haze to kind of create different atmospheres, LED dance floor, staging, a little bit of everything, to be honest. What I like doing more so is offering those services, and then maybe if I'm also doing lighting and we have a DJ as well, I'll find that perfect DJ for the event. Let them completely take over the playlist side of things so they can 100% focus on that and I can 100% focus on the lighting aspect.
As a DJ, you understand the dynamics with obviously the music, what the music plays into the role with the lighting and all the effects that you're talking about right now.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you see people, and not to hit on them, but like the sound mode lights versus someone who's actually a lighting designer, programmer, and knows music as well. It's a huge difference. sadly even see it some of the first dances sometimes. First dance should not be going crazy with lights. There should be nothing moving, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because a lot of people do have a lot of different things, and you're right, it can be a distraction, especially in photos too, I feel like.
But then also knowing that if we're playing Bruno Mars or something upbeat like that, it's going to be your bright color scheme, your greens, your blues, purples, maybe flashing some white in there. Like, it's going to be fun, upbeat. But then when we're playing a slow song and it's that anniversary dance or whatever, that should not still be happening. Have it on a red, something moody, setting the tone. Like you're at a nice dinner over at Nick and Sam's or something where they have that mood in there.
Right.
And it's a very like lovey atmosphere versus something completely different with all the colors going.
Obviously, as we discussed, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of logistics that go into what you do, and honestly coordinating with other vendors too. For those who play a big role into the planning, how soon should they book you?
For a wedding, I think 6 months, 6 months plus. Started that, and then be able to take all your time and take it easy. Don't be stressed about doing it. Don't get me wrong, we've done a lot of events where it's been last minute. Because just like you said earlier, whenever you're a bride, you're thinking about floral. You're thinking about a number of other things that is not lighting.
I have a question. So, for instance, venues, because we obviously had, the tented wedding and everything was done from scratch. Like the whole building was put there from scratch. Now, with a venue, do you still work with venues? Like, do you still have to go in and do all the lighting?
Yes. So typically what I like to do now is be able to turn off all the venue lights. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Whenever I'm able to control the mood throughout the entire thing, I'm actually able to use those lights to highlight everything, because a lot of times those venues don't have everything on a dimmer switch.
Yes.
Well, if you paid to spotlight all the floral and you really want that to be a highlight, it's kind of hard to highlight that when all the lights are on.
You prefer to work on a clean slate?
Yeah, there's different venues that have the big chandeliers, and like we still want those to be a highlighted point. And I can work with that. I'm always happy to work with whatever is going to look best.
Okay, so tell me more about Classy Rager. Like, what is that? Like, how do you come up with a name? I'm so intrigued.
Whenever I was building my company back in 2015, all these people were kind of asking me, because I was getting to be more professional. I was just out of college. I had just really said, all right, bye to my 9-to-5 job. And so I started digging in deeper. And the main question that stood out to me was, describe your ideal client. The thing that kind of brought them all together was, I want to be very classy, black tie, whatever, girls in their gowns, guys in nice suits and tuxes, and the ceremony to be really pretty, have all the floral, cocktail hour, we're having drinks, but it's still like classy, either live instrumentals from a violinist or pianist or something like that. And then same coming into the reception hall is all lit up. It's beautiful. We have floral everywhere. We still have maybe a live singer in there, a Dean Martin or whatever, kind of singing during dinner. And then formals, those are all great. But once we're ready for that party, all right, she's going back to her room. She's changing out of her wedding dress and into her dancing dress. They're taking off her heels and putting on some Nikes that light up. He's taking the bow tie off. The guys are over getting ready, taking a shot, getting ready to come out to the dance floor. And we're going to tear this thing up. And we're going to have the lighting up in the front by the dance floor completely change. It's now, instead of going to be that glowing, like warm feel and all the floral highlighted, well, now all the floral is going to change color along with our dance floor.
Oh, you're making me feel like I'm missing out. Like I missed out because I didn't obviously have like that part, Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
But I mean, completely changing it and bringing in, like I said, the different special effects that I have that are normally used for your clubs, and use them for rodeos and different tours and festivals and stuff like that. Lasers don't have to like be just for that, and we can bring that atmosphere, that club atmosphere, And then at the end of the night for the last song, everyone's chanting one more song and we do it and the sparklers go off. Rager part.
Like, yeah, Rager, yeah, exactly. So that makes sense. Classy Rager. I love it. And I can see obviously your passion behind what you do and, everything that you're doing and how you get so excited talking about every part of the event and how you just like, seriously, you just like set a story. We're like all picturing it. It's amazing. Congratulations on what you do. No wonder why Macy keeps you busy with all these events. Seriously. So let's talk about trends. Is there something that you're seeing that a lot of people are asking for, or is there something that you would love for every wedding to have?
At this point, I'm seeing kind of what I just talked about with classy ragers being more of a thing. People that are getting married are a little bit younger now, or at least the clients that I'm getting are in their 27 to 30, 32. And a lot of those people have been going to music festivals their entire life. A lot of those people want to bring kind of that club laser atmosphere, some sort of special effect, some sort of wow factor to their dance floor. And I love it. That's where I come in and be able to do that. Some of the other trends I'm seeing are just having everything battery powered, not seeing any wires.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for couples, that want to make their wedding like theirs, like very unique, or any advice for anyone that may be looking for your services?
Start early, get the right vendors, sit down and really think about every single part of it. What do you want your ceremony to look like? What do you want it to sound like? Cocktail hour. All right, how long do we want that to last? Do we want people to sit out there and get drunk, or do we want to just have a few drinks and come in? Dinner, same exact thing. Do we want a live, someone live strings or a singer, or do we want just background music from a DJ? What do we want the floral to look like? What do we want the whole thing to feel like? And then obviously getting into the reception that has your songs and all that.
That's a lot, by the way. I obviously just got married, but like having to plan a wedding and just the logistics, even though I had a wedding planner, there was still a lot of interaction. So I cannot imagine somebody who's planning their own wedding. So obviously my recommendation to anyone would be, if you can, hire a wedding planner, because it's going to be worth it. I have never heard anybody say that they regret hiring a wedding planner. But then the second, as you said, like hire the right vendors, because honestly, you can just be like, hey, this is your job. And then you can just handle that part instead of us as customers thinking about all the logistics.
Yeah, no. And I know it's hard to trust somebody sometimes, but if you're able to give them and have actually thought about exactly what you want it to feel like and sound like, then having a good planner and expressing that to him or her and your DJ as well, it should be no problem for them to take the reins from there, create that soundtrack or create that vision board, create the layout and design for you.
Awesome.
And I guarantee you find someone good, they're going to take your vision and make it even better.
Obviously you work with planners, but do you work with customers directly as well?
Yeah.
Great. So how can they contact you? Where can they find you and get more information about you?
Yeah. So I'm based right here in the middle of uptown Dallas. So very accessible to get around anywhere. They can find my website is austinsmithevents.com. Very simple. Austin Smith Events on Instagram and YouTube. Instagram is what I keep updated the most, and usually pretty much always have at least 3 stories on there from different events, reposting, either Social Llama, Hunter Orchid events. We just did one with Wingstop. And so those are all on there. And I love to be able to give you all that so you can see exactly what I've done. And then my YouTube page as well.
So thank you so much for your time. This was wonderful. And just to learn again about your business, about you and that excitement, of the entire thing. It's just incredible. So thank you, Austin.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm sad I didn't get to be there at your wedding, but looking back through those photos, absolutely gorgeous. You all did an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Learn about all things wedding straight from the experts. Be sure to like and subscribe to Bridal Club.